Hello, my name's Amanda and welcome to another one of my quilt block tutorials. So for today's block tutorial, I really wanted to do a block that I had never really done before and would slightly challenge me. And the block that I've chosen is one that I've always wanted to do as well. So the block that I am talking about is this one. It is called the Ohio Star. So I suppose the thing about this block, whenever I did look at it in a book or in a quilt, were these little bits here, and these are called quarter square triangles. I think I've made them before, but it's something that I've never really done a lot. So when I looked at the pattern and discovered how to do it and sort of realized just how easy it was, I was like, wow, why have I not been making this block more often? Because it really is very easy to make. So if you're one of those quilters who have half square triangles down packed and are ready for the next challenge, I think quarter square triangles are possibly your next thing. Just like I said, they are super simple to piece together, and in this tutorial I will be showing you every step that it takes to make them. I think I said that right. So just like all of my other quilt block tutorials, you will find all of the measurement and cutting instructions down in the description box below. And also, if you'd like to know the fabric that I'm using and also all of the tools and notions that I use in this video, they are also all down there as well. So friends, this is how you make the Ohio block. To make this block, you will need to cut 2 6-inch purple squares and 2 6-inch print squares, and then 4 5-inch purple squares and 1 5-inch print square. The first step in making the Ohio Star block is to make 4 quarter square triangle units with each of the 6-inch squares. To do this, mark a line across the back of the 2 6-inch print squares with a ruler and pencil. Pair these with the 2 purple squares, right sides facing, and pin them together. At the sewing machine, place the right hand side of your 1/4 inch foot along the left hand side of the line and sew a 1/4 inch seam. Feed the next pair of squares through, and once you reach the end, remove the squares from the machine, turn them around, and sew another 1/4 inch seam along the other side of the line until you've reached the end. Snip the joining threads and then cut both squares in half using a ruler and blade. Press the seams on the 4 half square triangles towards the darker side of fabric using a medium to hot steamy iron. Next, on the back of 2 half square triangle units, mark a line down the center opposite to the seam line. Pair these together with the other 2 half square triangle units. Ensure that each of the triangles are facing an opposite fabric and that the center seams are nesting beautifully together in the middle of the unit. Once you're happy with their placement, pin them together and then sew a 1/4 inch seam along each side of the pencil line in the same way as before. Snip the joining threads and then cut each unit in half along the pencil line. Press each of the 4 quarter square triangles with a steamy iron, and then square each one up to a perfect 5 inches using a set square ruler. To do this, line up the 45-degree line running along the center of the ruler with one of the seam lines on the unit. Ensure the edges of the ruler are on the inside of the square and that the 5-inch markings match up with the seams at the corners. Using a rotary blade, trim off the first 2 edges. Then spin the block around, line up the 45-degree line and 5-inch markings, while also placing the edges of the ruler along the 2 sides you've just cut. Trim off the last 2 edges, and that's your perfect 5-inch quarter square triangle unit ready to go. Lay the block units out in this way, with the 5-inch print square in the center, the 4 quarter square triangles around it, and the 4 5-inch purple squares placed in each corner. Separate the block layout into 3 rows. Starting with either the top or bottom row, flip the middle quarter square triangle evenly onto a corner square and pin into place. Sew a 1/4 inch seam along this edge. Then open out the row, flip the corner square on top, pin it in place, and then sew it together. On the back of the row, press the seams outwards towards the corner squares to reduce any bulk, while also giving the top a good press as well. Continue in the same way to piece together the other 2 rows, ensuring to press the seams towards the squares. Once all 3 rows have been pieced, flip the top row onto the center one, nesting the middle seams perfectly with each other. Pin the edge into place and then sew a 1/4 inch seam along it. At the ironing board, press the seams outwards away from the center row. Flip the last row over onto the center row. Nest the seams and pin the edge into place. Sew one last 1/4 inch seam down this row and then press the seam away from the center. And then lastly, square the block up so that it measures approximately 14 inches by 14 inches. And that is how you make the Ohio Star block. So I am seriously in love with this block, and now that I know just how easy it is to piece, I think I'm going to be doing it a lot more in the future. I really love with how this block you can use 2 contrasting fabrics and just make this star pattern just totally stand out. I think it just looks so great, and from afar it just makes my heart flutter, you know. Now of course, if you're going to make this block, please show me. I always love seeing the things that you make, and I also really love how you like to interpret the block and use different types of fabrics. I just love it. So if you do want to share your photos with me, you'll find all of the links to where I am down in the description box below. If you are new to my channel and would like to see more of the things that I do here, please subscribe. I would love to have you come and join us. And as always, friends, thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you another time very, very soon. Bye!